More phone calls coming up. Update the poll results as well. We welcome back the Hall of Famer, three-time Super Bowl champ, and Super Bowl MVP, Steve Young, back on the program. Paulie just telling me about the Justin Herbert throw and said it might be the greatest throw he's ever seen. Physically, the greatest throw that he's ever seen. Dan Orlovsky of the Mothership said only 5 players can make that pass. You've seen the play. How great was the pass by Justin Herbert?
It was amazing, and I agree with that. Physically, what you have to be able to do, the strength to climb the pocket, to be mobile enough to find the space. I thought for a second he might throw it left-handed, the way that how good he is, but he did grab it with his right, going left and across his body. I mean, it's why you always say why do guys get paid? Why are quarterbacks? It's a really tough job, Dan, as you know. And to me, Justin's a guy, like, first of all, just take it from an artistic perspective. I mean, if you're just an appreciator of the throwing motion as an art form, Justin Herbert is the Mona Lisa, right? Like he and Andrew Luck, in my mind, were the two guys. When I watch them throw, I'm like, oh, you get lightheaded. You're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that is sweet. People around me when I'm watching them play, you're like, well, Steve, relax, bro. It's not but then he's been unleashed a little bit with Jim and Harbaugh. I appreciate he was like a kept man, and I didn't like it. He was getting beat up. He was hanging in the pocket too long. And I think, I really like what he's come out this season. He won a game with his legs the other day. Like, he is more mobile in his mind. Like, okay, I'm attacking the line of scrimmage, and you know how I feel about that. You have to be able to attack the line of scrimmage in today's game because it's so much of a differentiator, and there's so much free yards and touchdowns to go get. And so as you think about that throw, he was doing that. I don't see anybody. I'm going to get out of the pocket, try to find some space. I might run it. I might throw it. And so he's the kind like Josh Allen. Who are the 5 he thinks that can do it? I mean, it's Patrick, it's Josh, Lamar could maybe do that. It's Joe Burrow, maybe. I mean, it's just there's a few guys, right? There's a few guys that could do that.
Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Aaron, Aaron and a little younger Aaron, maybe. I think that Aaron's a little bit more sedate, but yeah, I think that there's no question as far as arm capability and athleticism. Yeah.
All right. Is there a team you're jumping on the bandwagon now? You've seen enough where you go, all right, I'm all in on them.
Well, you have to kind of say Philadelphia because they're built, the locker room, they've been tested, they've been battle tested, they've been through it. And then, to see what happened yesterday is one of those catapults, like, oh yeah, it's happening. I know it's still the preseason in September. It takes 3 or 4 weeks of the seasons these days where preseason is not really preseason. This is the preseason, so you just don't know for sure. But if I had to bet on a team that's going to be there at the end, I would say the Bills and the Eagles.
I watched the Bears and the Cowboys, and it was entertaining. But it's one of those games that I'm not sure if it means anything. It was just entertaining. At the end of the year, we might look back and say, oh, yeah, Caleb, yeah, he looked great against the Cowboys. Do you have an idea of how good these teams are?
No, and I don't think they know. No one can. I mean, like I said, today's game, they limit so much the time between coaches and quarterbacks and the team players with quick OTAs and then a preseason that's abbreviated, and they can't, it's not a lot of contact. It's like, look, they throw, free agency is as wild as it's ever been. Like, you throw a team together and then you just, it's like throw the mechanic in the trunk, right? We're gonna figure it out as we go. And so that's why I say the first 4 weeks, you really don't know who you are. The really good teams show up, the really bad teams show up, and everyone in the middle is just like, okay, let's just hope we're 2-2 or 3-1 by the end of this, and then we'll start to figure out who we are. But to me, that game, like, the Cowboys are just, I mean, you've heard me talk about it forever. They're just flawed from the top because they don't, the owner doesn't empower the coach to go get anything done. And so it's just, in the end, they just flail around. So the Cowboys, whatever. The Bears, I mean, look, they have a coach that's proven offensive mind, an innovative mind, and Caleb, quarterbacks, there's 10 places like that. Man, there's more than that now because I really think the league's got a lot more innovative minds thanks to Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and Andy Reid and their trees and Sean Payton, their trees of coaches are now flooded the NFL. So it's better for quarterbacks. And so I think Coach Johnson, I think Caleb, I think they'll be a good marriage look, the coach has never had a mobile quarterback before. He said, look, I've never coached a mobile quarterback. Well, there's things that are new there. So there's that even preseason going on. But I love what happened for the Bears yesterday. They needed it, and it was just a sign that there's life there.
What's different with Daniel Jones?
When he was in New York, if you think about it, when they quieted his mind down, Daniel's one of those guys that's very athletic. He thinks he can do it all. And when he tries to do it all, things go, the oil starts to fly all over there. It's crazy. And so when they quieted it down and asked less and ran the football and simplified things, it got better. And so I think what's happened is you got to one of those places where, it's an offensive mind that clicks with him, and they run the football. And you know how it works, Dan. Things get simpler. When linebackers and safeties are freaking out, worried about running the football, all of a sudden, play action, bam. And when things are clear and simple for him, he can perform. And so I think that's how it works. And I think it can happen. I mean, I don't think it's just a fluke. I think that Daniel can be under the right circumstances. And the truth is, I think a lot of guys, if they can find the place that resonates with them, which is not everywhere, which is not even half of the teams. Quarterback, I've said to you many times, if I could play today and I could run to any, football NFL team today, where would you want to play? Well, there's 3 that I'd run to right now. And then there's 10 that I would like, all right, I'll go there. And there's 15. I'm like, no.
Give me the teams you would run to.
I'd go to San Francisco, the Rams, and the Chiefs. I mean, those are the innovative minds that since the rule changes in 10 years ago or 8 years ago, they're the ones that had the tactical advantage because of their innovation, because they saw the opportunity, and immediately, with their incredible minds, just started to change the game. And you remember and then they've had to reiterate and reinvent themselves as their coaches were hired by other teams because they saw what happened with Miami and Minnesota and Green Bay, and like you just go around the league now, it's everywhere. Jacksonville, like there's guys that have just come from those trees that have innovative minds that have seen it and go, okay, this is what we're going to do. That's why I think the tactical advantage from those guys is gone. It's lost a little bit, but they have to reinvent themselves again. And but those are the 3 places I would sprint to.
Talking to Hall of Famer Steve Young, if you were going to give advice, what quarterback do you think needs advice?
What do you mean? Like every quarterback needs. What are you talking about? Like you mean like
Josh Allen? Does Josh Allen need advice?
Well, everyone has to continue to iterate their game and really take the positives. Like Josh, he was trying to be Superman. It wasn't really advice that I would give to his game. It was like, please Bills offense, please give him some help so that he doesn't have to be Superman all the time. Because when you have to be Superman all the time, just like Patrick Mahomes was trying to be Superman 4 or 5 years ago, then you get into games and things go haywire again. Like you have to be able to calm your mind and be, deliver from the pocket, not have to be Superman every play. And then when they ask you to for 4 or 5 plays a game, you're like, yeah, no problem. And so everyone needs advice. Everyone needs help. And it's not necessarily about them. So much of it is, everyone says, oh, the commodity in the NFL is coaching. Yeah, just get a coach. Like the offensive coordinators, the play callers, the best in the game are like the Josh Allens, are like the Patrick Mahomes, are like the Lamar Jacksons. There's a few, and you've got to search them out and find them. And when they meet another great talent, that's why people go to the Super Bowl. And so just do not think that the talent to be a great offensive coordinator and especially an innovative kind of game we have today, where there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do, those guys are differentiators. So the advice I would give to quarterbacks, every one of them, find somebody like that, because they're not a dime a dozen, that's for sure.
What would you say to Lamar Jackson if he came to you and said, "Steve, what do you think of my?"
I would love that, because Lamar's my guy. Like, I think Lamar can be the greatest player of all time, and I've said this for years. And I think the Ravens they haven't hurt me. I mean, they don't care, but I'm just saying 4 or 5 years ago, they were the most sophisticated running game in history, and they'd win a lot of games. and they go to the playoffs and just flail because the game is a sophisticated passing game is still what matters. Great running games are great, and then Lamar just was not being challenged to be a sophisticated passer, and I knew he could be. And then a couple of years ago, you saw them transition, and they got the help he needed at receiver and made a commitment to it and believed in him, and then started to call plays to do that. So I think that transition's happening, and that's why Lamar continues to thrive and can get better and better. I would say to Lamar, keep on this track. Make sure every week that you're doing the study. Like quarterback sucks in a lot of ways during the week because it's a memorization game. It's reflexive memorization so that when you get to the game, you've studied enough that you know all the tendencies. In the red zone blitz tendencies, you've watched enough film. So much of it is just a mind game. And I would just tell him, like he is obviously doing the work, just double down every week, every season, like double down on the mind game.
How much of the position is being an entertainer?
Look, I wouldn't call it entertainer. I would call it a psychologist. Like the game really demands a dynamic human being that can deal with people, bespoke, right? Where everybody's different and everybody needs to be, some guys can get yelled at and some guys you can't yell. You got to kind of like pat them on the back. Sometimes you got to find different ways to communicate, but you always have to be accountable. And it's just a dynamic situation. So the entertainment part is really in the doing and in the getting the guys together, getting your offensive linemen to believe that it's okay that you get paid 10 times the amount they do, and they have to get in a fight every week and you don't, and you get to be on TV. And like there's all kinds of dynamics in the locker room. There's dynamics with the media. So in that way, I would say, yeah, that's a huge quotient the way you're asking the question, but I don't think it's necessarily like, can you sing and dance? Like there's fundamentals to it. Like I said many times, I poured myself into playing, and there's nothing like it. And ever since, there's nothing like what I had to do to try to be good or great in the NFL. And so in that way, the quarterbacks are just, it's an awesome, brutal opportunity to be amazing if you can figure out how to pour yourself into it and give everything ounce of yourself. But that entertainment side of it, that's pretty, to me, that's what it's entertaining to Dan when you're good or when you're great, when you're winning and you're making great plays like Justin Herbert. That's entertainment, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like that's excellence. That's just that's the tip of the spear kind of awesome, physical, emotional. Like the way he got there was not just because he's a great athlete. The way he got there is because he's a gritty, tough-minded, dynamic human being that can get everybody fired up to go play go ram into people and get into a fight and support you. So to me, yeah, that's entertainment. And it is, you have to have that.
I asked this question last week. What do you hear when you're in the pocket? Like when you step up in the pocket, what do you hear?
I heard Reggie White yelling, like he screamed, like he was a screamer. Like Reggie's like you heard him coming like a train.
Wait, what? He would just
like just screaming, like what, bro? You're 6'6", 500. Like just stop with the screaming, But you don't. I it's like the white noise of the crowd. Like people say, what do you hear? It's like it's the job. It takes so much focus and so much. Like you think about just the anticipatory throwing as you see people moving and now know how to, where you need to let it go. At the time you need to let it go, nobody's open. Nobody's like, oh, he's open, let me throw it. Like that's college, man. That's high school. Like nobody's open when you throw it. You have to throw it well before something happens. And so in that way, that focus is so great that it's not like, oh, Reggie, I did hear. I have to admit, that's why I said it. But it's just white noise. It's like, it's just whatever. Like, I didn't, and then, if no one here, I mean, you hear it. Well, the only thing you hear is after the play, stupid. I mean, what defensive lineman has ever said anything you really understand? Their face is pushed to the helmet, and your mother. I'm like, my mom. What's the problem?
Did they try to trash?
Did they? Well, you're screaming something that I don't get. Your face is squished in your helmet. You're gurgling something. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
They tried to trash talk you.
Yeah, but you don't understand it. Like, I know you're trying to get to me, but bro, I cannot understand you, man.
But Lawrence Taylor, any of those guys?
I don't. It's like just a bunch of like gobbledygook. I mean, the safeties and it's corners, blitzing corners and safeties. It's like but defensive linemen just no, not much there.
Did Deion ever trash talk you?
Oh, he's the best. He's the best. He told me, Dan, it was amazing. When he joined the 49ers, he turned to me, he grabbed me early and said, look, Steve, what I want you to know is that I'm an amazing teammate. And in the locker room, I do my prep. I'm ready to play, and you'll never doubt me. The rest of it, just get some popcorn and watch the parade, bro, because it's a good one. And he was exactly right. He was always ready to play. He was a great teammate. He was great in the locker room, and there was a parade, man, and we just kind of watched it. It was fun. Deion could, Deion was in the middle of and you talk about entertainment.
There you go. Yeah.
He was that good that he could be great and entertain the whole way. That's not easy to do. You can do it from corner. You can do it from corner because it's a hard job physically, but it's not like you have to anticipatory throwing and 22 guys running around. Like it's a different game. So in that way you could say, you know what, I'm going to be great and I'm going to make you, laugh or entertain or make you whatever, I think you could do it from there.
Could he have been a Hall of Fame receiver if he just played offense?
Oh yeah, for sure. No question. He kept, when I was with him that one year we went to the Super Bowl, he kept going over there. And I said, look, let's get some routes. In the Super Bowl, we threw it late in the game. We did something because we owed him to him because he did so much work on the offense. He did a lot of prep work to be useful if needed. You know what I mean? And I love that because I was like, the idea was he's like, just throw it. Like, don't worry, just drop back and just rip it, and then I'll take care of the rest. I believed him, man. Yeah. I believed that it's possible. The dude was. Dan, he was one of the rare guys that defied your eye. As a player, you talk about keen sense of physical abilities. You had to know what a corner could do and how fast they could break and how just the minute nature of how people moved. And you got a sense of it, like a heightened sense of it. So you knew exactly what was happening on the field and who could do what. And there's a timing to it. And then Deion was different. Like he would shock you. You'd like, wait, you can't move that way. It's not possible. There was a time when he was with Atlanta early on. I was like, I'm just not going over there because I can't gauge it. It was like something I couldn't get my handle on it because his speed was so incredible. I was like, I'm not going to touch you for a little while until I get used to you.
Thanks for sharing. Great to talk to you again. Thank you, Steve.
Damn, you're the man. All right, buddy.
That's Steve Young, Hall of Famer. You imagine you're telling Bill Walsh or George Seifert, can we not go towards Deion's side? Please?